Summer's almost over, I'm a little older now. The sun's going down, and I just gotta know, how many more can I score before I drown? Man, I ain't playing around, I'm bearing my soul.
Hi everyone, this is Killshot from 999 Gaming, and this is The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode number 3, live fan reactions and recap. What an episode tonight. Again, the action is certainly picking up. This is what we have been waiting on. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Some good and some a little bit, oh man, my skin crawled with the horses, but certainly some things that we've talked about the last couple weeks are coming to fruition. Negan is towing that line, but certainly I think Maggie's starting to see a different side of Negan. So let's just kick this thing off. I know we're a couple minutes early, so a few people are going to catch up. We said we'd start at 10:10, but just wanted to, I don't know, Chris. I just don't like that word. I was going to say it, and I'm like, I just don't, yeah. I don't know what it is about that word. I just tried to avoid it. But let's start out. Give me your scorecard for tonight. I want to see from a scale of a 1 to a 10, where did you guys rate tonight's episode? So as people are logging in, just want to see what the scores are. I know Moonshot's going to come in and give it a 6.5. It's like every week, right? Tonight, I mean, I'll tell you guys the things that I really liked about it, and then I'm going to tell you the things that I thought could have been improved upon. I'll let a few more scores come in. I see Walani. I see E-Beach with a 9. We got an 8, 8.8. Jesus with an 8. Christmas Girl, 8.9. Kathy about a 6. A little lower than my scale, but certainly we'll talk about that. We got Ocean Man with a 9. Lynn Nesbitt with an 8. Kel with 8.3. All right. Yeah, we'll get a few more in here. So I will say from an action standpoint, this was as good as I've seen in a long time. There certainly was the introduction was good. Choppy with how the group got separated and broken up, and they went in different directions. They didn't stay, they just kept moving and moving and moving, and apparently they got further and further away. So that to me seemed a little convenient of not being able to find like a common place, but it was certainly like a horror flick. We know, though, that when you're fighting any group, if they know the territory, well, you kind of got to stay together, because when you start breaking into these small numbers like 1s and 2s, you're done. I mean, look, we lost Duncan. We lost Agatha. I mean, Maggie's losing everybody. And even though she hasn't technically lost Alden yet, you have to think that Alden has one of two paths. Path number 1 is he's like Connie, and they just save him for some kumbaya great moment. Path number 2, they go to the church, they find him, and we get a repeat vibe of the Saviors, where Alden becomes sacrificial in front of maybe Daryl, in front of Negan, in front of Father G. So I see one of two things happening with the Alden storyline. I don't think he's just going to kind of die in the church a la Carl. But I do think that the writers got together this year and said, let's remake the Saviors, but just amp them up a little bit more. So I feel like the Reapers are what the Saviors could have been. And they said, of all the different villains that were out there, the Saviors really had a lot of hype and a lot of buzz, so why not go out with that story? Even the weapons, and I would not be surprised if these Reapers have a couple of Negan's old people that might have skipped town. So Alden is not technically dead yet. He's in the church, and they left him behind and basically gave him the whole, "We'll be back for you, Alden. You better be back for me." So either he's just going to be super, super resilient, he's going to live and they'll go back and find him, or the Reapers will find him first. So I'm coming in at an 8.5. I wanted to give it well over a 9. But there were just a few things that the synergy was not there. The amount of times that the writers have to redeem Negan is a little disgusting at this point. So Negan saved Maggie from an explosion. And then he saved Maggie from getting bit when Agatha died. And this is just after he didn't save her. So I'm a little confused. He had a chance to save her in the metro station. And now he could have just kind of, threw Maggie in there and bought himself some more time. So maybe the Maggie speech hit home. Maybe seeing Gage. I don't know. I don't know what made it click for Negan. But it certainly seems like now he's trying to get, no other way to say it, he's trying to get Maggie's approval. Why else save her? I mean, she's tough. Yeah, she could, maybe their partnership, maybe she can help save him. But I just think at this point, Negan would probably have been better off on his own. So we've got that. Now, I still, with some of the inconsistencies there, I still would have given it a 9. And I know it's probably easy for me to sit up here and say, I would starve before slaughtering a horse. But I thought that was way too much. I didn't need to see the kids eating it. I didn't need to see Magna eating it. I didn't need to see Rosita and Coco walking up to the horse. I would have been content with just assuming that that's what happened. So, now prior to that, let me say this. I thought the writers did a good job of portraying the bleakness and the darkness and the hunger. So I thought early on that they've done a good job. You've got Carol there. You can see the empty shelves. So the tone was certainly there. But, to go lay the horse down and do all that I didn't need to see all that. E. Beach says, I wonder where the Reapers are getting the ordnance. They're a core special forces group that already hit Maggie's stat. All good questions. So, I mean, the one thing that Maggie did say about the Reapers is they took over her camp, and her camp had the ability to grow food. So, and there could be less of them. So, less reapers. You don't have a whole bunch of families and kids and mouths to feed. Less is more. Kind of take what you want and build your stockpile. They seem to be okay, and they seem to have a lot of energy. So I'm trying to condition myself to enjoy the action and what's going on. So let me kind of think through a few things that I do like. So I like Gage dying. I also think that they've done a pretty good job of showing Maggie's attachment to the people in her group. Unlike on other shows where, well, you guys remember on Fear when they introduced the bounty hunter and then the bounty hunter died like the first episode. If you watched that. Maybe you watched all of Fear, maybe you didn't. But I've thought in some of the other shows that we get introduced to something and before we really understand it, they're gone. So I thought that Maggie's group, there was a good connection. But if you knew the Reapers were this bad, and they obviously are, I think there should have been a little bit more vetting. Like Carol, like Rosita, like Magna. So why are some of the best fighters, if this is your mission, and your mission is to possibly throw down with the Reapers and take back what they took from you, Maggie knows how strong they are. So where's Aaron and his claw? So, there should have been more. This has just not been a well planned out trip. This has been like a suicide mission. And they're just mowing them down. I mean, that's the other thing. This doesn't appear to be ending very well. Because you do have Daryl, you do have Negan, you do have Maggie. But it's starting to feel a little bit like when the Whispers had all of them surrounded. Well, look, I don't want to bring intelligence into it. Kel says Maggie's not the smartest leader. But then what does that make all the people that follow her? Doesn't make them very smart either. So, yeah, I can't. Look, here's the thing. I can't allow you guys to keep pinning everything on Maggie. The Maggie hatred at this point in the game is just, you know who she is. You know what the story is. There's food there. And these people aren't blind. I mean, they're not just lemmings. They're not just going to say, hey, okay. I mean, anybody can speak up. Aaron can speak up. Maybe just like pump the brakes one time and say, all right, Maggie, before we leave on this mission tonight in the rain, Tell us a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about what they did. How many people you think we're going to need? How many of them do you think there were? Because this is what I know, okay? They were strolling down Main Street, and these bad dudes came strolling down, shooting at them, and Maggie and group acted like they weren't expecting this. They heard the story, right? You heard the story. I heard the story. It went something like this. Now, them Reapers, they're pretty badass. All I know about them is by the time you see them, you're already dead. Okay, first of all, that makes no sense. By the time you see them, you're already dead. I get where she's going with this. But to me, that speaks volumes. You know what that tells me? Don't walk down the middle of the street in Reaper territory, right? By the time you see them, you're already dead. Then don't see them. Or if you are going to see them, take everybody. All right. Instead of taking 15, I don't know what they took. Maybe it was 15. Maybe take 50. Get the food quicker. Carry more of it. But this is also a group. Well, let me ask you guys a question, okay? Maybe you can help me with this one. I'm going to give everybody here two choices. Choice A, you stay at the little army camp when you got high ground, kill all the walkers because they're dead walkers and they're not Reapers, and then take all of that food. Or B, panic and run from pinned in walkers in the army base, go back, and then go fight a much worse enemy that's a lot further away. Now, I don't know why you would choose B. I would choose A. I would stay there until all those walkers are killed, take that food back. Because it seemed like there was more. It seemed like there was more than a horse. I mean, they're eating horses when they could have been eating army rations, granola bars. And all they had to do was kill another 30 or 40 walkers. We do that in our sleep. They got groups out there trying to lasso horses. Why don't you lasso the walkers? Pull them up. So, I don't know. I'm going to ask can you eat a walker? Has that ever been tried? I know everybody's like, what? I mean, I'm just thinking. I mean, they're eating horses. I would probably eat a walker before I ate a horse. Why not? I mean, it's just a question. I mean, I want to see the responses. No, there's not, but there certainly is a huge supply. I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. I don't know if anybody's ever tried it. Look, Alden's going to die anyway. You couldn't just go give Alden some Walker jerky just to try it out. I mean, you need to know. You need to know these things. I mean, at this point, look, they're eating spiders. What's the difference between eating a Walker or a spider? I'm not eating a spider. Exactly. This is what we do to survive. Just a question. I mean, I'm trying to think of what we can do to save the group. Because apparently it's smarter to travel all the way across, lose half your people, and they die anyway. I'm just telling you guys, option C would be starve to death. But I don't know. If I had a choice between killing that beautiful horse and shish kebabbing a Walker, I think I'm going to choose a Walker over a horse. Walker's already dead. I'm probably going to choose number 3, which is just die. But yeah, I did not enjoy the horse scene. They love killing horses on The Walking Dead. All right. Anyway, I won't get into. I'm just thinking about all the trials and tribulations that the group is going through. So let me kind of get back on track here. I did feel kind of the hunger and almost as if you're part of the story. In fact, when I'm watching this, I was getting a little hungry because they play on your emotions. And I'm not positive, but did you guys feel like they reused the set that they used on the Alpha Lydia scene? Did that not look like the same door from Alpha and Lydia when Maggie pulled it open? I don't know. Maybe I was just having a flashback, but it did seem like, oh, they're going into school. But I kind of got that vibe there. So, do you guys think that Father G is now just going to be known as G? Is he done? Is he done with the with his spirituality? So I love the comments here. So I have a question. This kind of feels like another big setup, another big setup storyline. So he said God is not here anymore. Well, if these reapers and this Pope is as bad as we think he is, now is not the time for him to turn his back on God, I will say. Now's the time he might want to find every resource he can possibly get. Because, well, God has to be in The Walking Dead. If you don't believe me, look at Rosita, Carol, Magna, when they were walking along and they saw the dead horse and they were about to give up. All of a sudden, a miracle happens and horses show up. A second miracle happens and there just happens to be a dairy farm. It's like, okay, you couldn't plan that any better. But somebody brought this up earlier. Can they not just build some nets and catch some fish? I mean, why don't they teach those kids how to fish instead of playing slapjack or whatever they were playing? Hey, card playing time is done. Grab a net, get your ass out there, and let's go fishing. No, you teach them to go fish, not play go fish. And we know there's a stream over there because, we had the whole Whisper Arc and there's water. Of course, June, there has to be fish. No, who's eating them? There should be more fish than anything in the world because the population, walkers aren't eating fish. Walkers are eating people. So it should be a ton of fish. Now, I know what makes for boring television, but, just a little bit of planning would get us out of a few of these predicaments. So G was praying right before he sees the Reaper. I know some people are going to go tonight. They're going to watch next week's. I'm glad. I got to tell you guys, I'm not trying to dog on AMC's app because I know a lot of people like to watch it early. But I have to tell you, this season, I am really enjoying the suspense of watching it at the moment. The commercials, everything. Because I feel like I'm watching it with everybody else that's watching it again. Because, when you're watching it, you can message people. It's like, wow, that happened. When you're watching it tonight, the night it comes out for next week, you're sitting there by yourself. It's like you want to tell people about it, but you can't tell people about it because they have to wait a week. But no, I'm really enjoying the kind of waiting. I know in the past I've gotten the spoilers early, but there's no sense because we're going to have people watching at midnight tonight. And then by the time I do a spoiler stream on Tuesday or Thursday, people are going to be like, nope, kills. That's not the way it happened. Good guess. So I'm just guessing now. I'm doing the reaction, and then I'm throwing it out there. Couple highlights. So let me ask you guys. Favorite moment from tonight? Anything. Can be funny, can be serious, can be suspense. Type in chat right now. What was your favorite part of tonight's episode? I want to read a couple of these. Well, Busy Bee, I mean, they got to be drinking contaminated water. So why not eat the fish? Negan telling Maggie to make a decision. Negan holding Maggie back from Agatha. The church. Hershel talking about the different foods. How about Negan's indifference to Alden when Alden got attacked by the walker and Negan just kind of laughed and smirked. And then Negan says, "We got some good Negan lines tonight." And he goes, "Oh, so we're just going to go toward the screaming." So I thought that was some good comic relief in the middle. And then, the point is, if Alden can't take care of himself, what's the point of saving him? Yeah, certainly. When Maggie hugged Carol, they found the horses. Yeah, I do think that's interesting that you've got Alden. I don't think they could have scripted that any better. Negan, Maggie, and Alden. And you got Alden, who used to be with Negan, left for Maggie, and the two of them having to make a decision of what to do with Alden. And it shows you how complicated things are. Well, the image, I also, if I could give the writers credit for something tonight, there was a few things that were really good. Yeah, and I mentioned earlier, it was a little choppy in the beginning. But man, oh man, do they know how to close out these episodes? So the blood dripping off the crowbar, that's what I was going to talk about, Crystal, is at the very end, the way he swung the crowbar and then Maggie looking at it. But you know what else was really good about that? She looked at it and she walked right by him. Doesn't faze her. Where I think there was probably so much fear of Negan. I mean, she just went right in front of him, like, let's go. Not, you go first, because you got a crowbar. So I think she knows that maybe Negan's not necessarily always going to throw the life raft. He may or may not. But he certainly is not trying to stab her in the back. And I feel like the two of them at this point should have an understanding. They played that story for 3 episodes now. They look at each other funny, and when Maggie's people came up, they're like, "Oh, is that the guy?" And then they question each other's leadership. Negan sort of had a chance to save her. He didn't. Then he saved her a couple times. So I think for both the viewers and also the characters. Now, it's very similar to Daryl and Negan. If you remember, with the Alpha arc, with Daryl and Negan, and also with Beta. So, of all the things that Negan's done, Negan's responsible for killing Alpha, assisting in killing Beta, but it's very complicated with him. So before you guys just give him the badge of honor, let's not forget he was still right there with Alpha killing people in Hilltop. So it's a very complicated arc with him. He picks his times, he picks his moments, and he also wanted to give Alpha one final chance even after she killed all those people. I think he had the intent of killing her, but he certainly was going to give her the chance to coexist even after the war. So, the thing with Negan, and this is where I think Maggie was right tonight. If there's one thing that Maggie did, whether you like Maggie at this point or you don't like Maggie, the one thing she said that was super, super true was, it's just easy for you to make decisions with other people's lives. And I think that's Negan's fatal flaw, is it is. He feels like people can just be sacrificed, and because he's not one that's going to die, he's able to just move on to the next person and next person and the next person, where he's gotten cold and distant ever since his wife. So I think it was important to bring that storyline in there, because the loss of his wife, the one person he cared about, made him, we could probably talk about Negan all night. But you know what? He did it with Carl. He liked Carl, but he was going to kill Carl. So think about how complicated that is. He liked people in Hilltop, and he killed people in Hilltop. He liked Alpha, and he killed Alpha. So, I guess it's, when you become that, Maggie is right. Now, it doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean he doesn't feel something, but she's absolutely right by saying it's easy for you to make decisions. And I guess that's probably going to be the thing that echoes and echoes and echoes. And maybe Maggie realizes, although she hasn't admitted it yet, let's see if you guys agree with this statement. When Maggie said to Negan, it's easy for you to make decisions with other people's lives, she meant it as a criticism, but it probably resonated with her at that moment, I think she said in her mind, that's why you're a better leader than me. Would you guys agree with that comment? That she meant it as a vice, but then she realized that really is kind of what it takes to be a leader. Maggie cares about people. She does. She cared about Alden, and Negan is okay with saying, we got to leave his kid behind. He wasn't good enough to live. He wasn't strong enough to live. If he was, he wouldn't have got surprised. So let me take this point to a different level. Why is Negan alive right now and Alden could potentially die? I'll help you guys. I've only seen it once, and I certainly would go back and watch it again. Well, geez, I wouldn't say it's about street smarts. Let's just go back to tonight's episode. Hey, Maggie. Bam! I mean, the kid was right there in the middle of an attack, and he's cheesing like he's just found his long-lost love, and he gets attacked out of nowhere by a Reaper. You couldn't script it more naive than that. Hey, Mac, bam! It's like, dude, how did you live this long? Get down, hide out, live, but they got ambushed, and he's not paying attention. I don't. One, I don't know I totally agree or disagree with that comment, Kel. I'll tell you. With Gage, it was a little tricky. You fight to save the ones you care about first. Yeah and no. And I hate to waffle and say yes and no. But one, Gage just left, so he wasn't trustworthy. If Gage was still with the group and he didn't try to leave and then get called in a bad spot, then I would agree. But I've seen many examples of people who risked their life for somebody who maybe it wasn't where they cared about him or not. It was, they're your ally. Gage was a little different. One, there was risk. Two, he just betrayed the group. So, whereas Agatha was side by side with you, fighting for you, it's a little different. Some of it I agree with. Some of it could be impulse. You know what you know, and you've been through what you've been through, so there is a reaction. But that wasn't really the case when they were ambushed by the Reapers, was it? It was get the hell out. So, really, really good stuff to dissect for tonight. You know what? We're about 45 minutes. The group is really, really lively. I love hanging out with you guys and talking Walking Dead. It's great to be back to break it down. We get a little crazy, but I do think the psychology of the decision making is pretty good this season. And it does look like next week somebody's going to have to pay. The Pope is getting closer and closer. And I would ask for a bold prediction, but I know some people probably have already seen the episode. So, I can tell you guys, I have not. So, I will give you my bold prediction for next week. I think Alden is captured and killed, and somebody sees it. Maybe Daryl or somebody else. So I think because they've already sort of prepared us for Alden's death, I feel like Alden's death is coming next week. But it's always, well, they say, that cliche doesn't make any sense either. It's always darkest before the dawn, which is not really true. It's actually just slightly light before dawn. It's actually darkest way before the dawn. But my point to this is, they're going to take us down a pretty dark path. Only to give us something back. So there's got to be somebody from Oceanside, somebody somewhere. They're going to take us down the next couple episodes. Prepare yourself. 4 and 5. I'm going to say tonight what felt like a little bit of a slaughter fest. I think the next 2 weeks is going to get pretty bad. Like Whispers level bad. And then the group's going to find their resilience. I mean, they'll come back. But the previews look pretty solid. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here. Do me a favor. If you guys had a good time tonight, we break it down. We talk about it. We react to it. Hit the like button. Before you hit the like button, one more time, everybody. Now that we've talked about it, we've gotten your ideas in print. No, we're not going to eat any walkers. But give me your score for tonight's episode. Let's see if anybody changed their mind. You know what? I think I'll go from an 8.5. Out of hell with it. I'm going to give it a 9. Why not? The more I talk about it, the more I think about it, I will give it a solid 9 tonight. Why not? Walking Dead is back. We love it. We love talking about it. There we go. Now see, those scores make me feel good. The scores look much, much higher, which means you guys were sitting there, you're on the edge of your seat, you're entertained, you were into the story. But the Negan Maggie thing, do not discount that. Have fun with it. At this point, you don't really have to choose a side, whether you're Negan or Maggie. Just enjoy the dynamic that the writers are putting out there for the two of them being on this vision quest together. And let's just see what they do with it. It's going to be pretty cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate all you guys. Let's go watch the end of Talking Dead and see that sneak peek from next week. I will see all you guys next Sunday night. Have a good one, everybody. Peace.
Summer's almost over, I'm a little older now. The sun's going down, and I just gotta know, how many more can I score before I drown? Man, I ain't playing around, I'm bearing my soul. All the thunder will roll. I hope my brother will outlive us all. ready for fall. I'm running out of sun and I don't wanna go. Oh, the summer's